I haven't checked out much of this game lately. You know what? It's been a while. And I think I did the reaction a long time ago for the first trailer, I think. But yeah, this is something, been a weird journey, I think, for this game. And the third one was a good game, in my opinion. I liked it, but the whole thing with the transactions and stuff, and it was a thing, the pay to win issues and all that, and then eventually they fixed it. And then what's happening with like the whole thing with Microsoft buying everything. Da, da, da. This game's kind of been in there, in the middle of everything. But things are starting to look positive. I've been hearing good things. I haven't checked out, as I said, like some of the last few gameplays and stuff they did. So I'm pretty excited about this one. This is almost 8 minutes long. So you know what? Let's just get right into this and let's check this out. Diablo, the world of
Sanctuary is the world in which the story of Diablo takes place, and it's the battleground for the souls of humanity and the fight between angels and demons.
Sanctuary is a vast world, and there'll always be something new in every area, like hordes of enemies, safe haven towns, resources to gather, events, quests, and more.
We wanted to bring Diablo 4 artistically more back towards like Diablo 2, the much darker style. It's very macabre.
The artists and designers have had
True.
so much fun
Yeah.
working on it, and it's just been a joy to create for us.
How would the people
Two
of
was definitely
Sanctuary
much
show
darker.
their world? What kinds of art would they use to describe the world? One of the things we really wanted to do was make the game feel like a painting.
Everything was built by a wonderful group of people who love Diablo as much as you do.
We have 5 unique zones.
Each of the regions has its own kind of flavor and ambient life.
We take a lot of influence from what our concept artists give us, and I know they take a lot of influence from real
I like
life.
that. I like the
There's
zone
Kyrgyzstan,
thing.
which is
Not
the sort of
everything gotta be
desert.
It's
open
amazing
world
with
100%.
its sweeping sand dunes.
Skazglen, which is inspired by Scotland. Fractured Peaks is inspired by the Carpathian Mountains.
The Dry Steppes is sort of our mountainous desert region, and Hawazar is the swampy region of the south. Whether you're on a mount or on foot, it's a joy to go from one region to the next. Also, the region transitions are really beautiful and stunning to see.
Making sure that it felt sort of geologically true was really important. If you walk from Fractured Peaks into Hawazar, you'll cross all of these waterfalls caused by snowmelt. So you can actually see the snow melting
Man.
in Fractured Peaks through waterfalls, entering into Hawazar and entering the large basin that fills Hawazar with all of the swamp water.
We had all the different environments in the overworld, and we tried to make sure there was some parity with those in the dungeons. We have dungeons that are flooded, and there's like moss everywhere. It very much fits in with that Skazglen environment. Kyrgyzstan is all desert, so we have dungeons filled with sand. All the dungeons are particularly placed to make sure that they feel like this is a thing that could be in this part of the world. It fits here, it belongs here.
Man, it is looking
We
great.
definitely
I like
redesigned
the
some of
darker art
monsters.
style.
For
Like,
example,
I mean,
the Fallen
come on.
family has gone through a major redesign to make them feel more grim, a little scarier, a little darker, to match the tone of Diablo 4.
Monster families are a way to describe the group of monsters that create a combat experience. So a lot of times they'll be brutes and swarmers, melee or casters, and that's the term that we use to sum up the vampires. Or
It
the
definitely
drowned
feels like
or
they're
the
going
undead.
back to
And all of them
what
have unique
works with
abilities,
Diablo.
but they all synchronize
them.
together. They bolster each other and improve how they work on the battlefield so that every time you fight a pack of, let's say, goatmen, it's always different.
We wanted to make sure that the monster families all felt like they fit in their environments, and so our creature team did a really good job of making these different versions of them that have adapted to their environment. There's snowy goatmen and fractured peaks in some of the colder areas versus lightning goatmen are in dry steppes and kind of the more arid areas. Hawazar has a lot of poison spiders.
Each of the regions has its own kind of flavor, and it's pretty exciting to discover.
We have some really cool new snake men, the Nangari. We've seen snake men in Diablo before, but these guys are just really twisted amalgamations of multiple snake heads, even human body parts. We have skeletons, we have undead, we have ghosts, all the things that you would expect to find from a Diablo game.
Spiders have been around in Diablo forever, but the spider host was a cool new twist.
It's a giant spider
What?
that attaches to a corpse and then puppets
Okay.
it at you. And when you kill it, it explodes with tons of baby spiders. and then those little spiders come after you, and I feel slightly guilty about traumatizing a lot of people with it.
We also have wildlife.
That's a bit
deer,
overboard
snakes,
with that.
bugs, dogs. You can pet the dogs, by the way.
So many people
What?
ask to pet the dog.
It's a win now.
A lot of hard work to figure out how to pet
Yeah, the spider
the
thing.
dog.
We've seen that happen in, what, how many games? Or something
You have so
explodes,
many
and there's
activities
so
that
many
you might
other
run
ones in
into.
there.
It could be a stronghold, it could be side quests, you might have key dungeons to do, there could be bounties to pick up, you might encounter a world boss, you might encounter an invasion event of some kind.
We have much longer, sort of narrative-heavy side quests, and we have some shorter side quests, so you never feel like you're always doing the same thing. The pacing is always a little bit different. One of the things that I really loved about our announcement was the By 3 They Come cinematic. I was able to build a quest where you actually get to go to those places. You get to go to the town.
That
You get to
trailer.
go inside the chapel. And I work with some incredible dungeon designers to
If
build
you have not watched
the
it, go
dungeon
watch it.
from the cinematic. You're going to get to go
Jeez.
across the bridge that you saw to the actual room
Thrilling.
of the summon. I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm super excited to have players see it.
Sometimes it's kind of nice to just
Oh,
walk places.
I'll
'cause
definitely
that's
be going
a
there.
lot of the times when you see these little events.
You might find a demonic altar that you need to feed your blood to summon demons to then defeat for all of their loot. You might find a ghost child who's trying to find the remains of their parents, and you have to protect them. We have strongholds, which are a sort of large area that you can enter, and it has its own story, its own setup, its own sort of art that sort of tells a very specific story about this location, and those stay unlocked permanently once you've beaten back the darkness.
We did a lot of figuring out the balance between like how much space do we need for players to play through these dungeons versus how much space do we need to make them look cool. My favorite is this one called Endless Gates. It's got these teleporters, and these teleporters actually take you to other dungeons. So you'll end up in a cave, a crypt, or one of the ancients. And every time you go in, it's designed to change.
And there's dozens of villages and towns that you will run into.
The cities and towns are designed to be hubs. They're havens. They're places where you can find other players. They're good places to do all of your usual inventory management.
Each region has its main city that you can get lots of side quests and lots of activities.
We've really crafted the
I
world
want somebody to
feel
tell
like
me
there's
how long
always
this
something
game
just around the
is
corner
going to be,
find.
story-wise and everything-wise.
In Diablo 4, you actually get to walk Sanctuary.
It's a massive place that you can seamlessly explore with no loading in between zones, which is something brand new.
Oh,
Very immersive experience.
What I love about it is that you can go in a direction and you might be searching for a particular quest or an item, and you'll come across a stronghold
Wait.
that you haven't explored before. You'll
There's
come
no
across
loading.
dungeons that have legendary affixes, or you might discover
So it is
a
open
side
world,
quest that
just
you didn't
five
even know
different-
about.
oh,
that
it
fills
is.
in
Okay,
some bit
okay.
of lore that you actually were interested in. There's any number of things that can happen along the road to your destination, and that's what I love about having this fast-paced.
There are tons of different types of events in the world. It's been created to feel full of things to encounter, full of secrets to discover, full of characters to interact with, full of stories to find. We have these altars to Lilith that if you can find them, they will give you a permanent buff to all of your characters across the game. There are tons of them hidden everywhere. We also have these massive world bosses that are so big the camera actually has to pull out even further, and you're going to have an opportunity to fight these bosses
Where's my
with your
character? I
friends
can't
or
see.
with strangers to take down these huge world bosses.
And the team has done just an
Okay.
incredible job making Sanctuary a world worth exploring and a world worth investing yourself in.
well, there you have it. Look, that looks pretty darn good. I mean, the first thing is that they're listening. They're listening to fans. They're going back to what works. What didn't work in Diablo 3, they're kind of keeping it aside. Hopefully they don't change things later on. Be like, oh, here you go. The game is perfectly fine. This is the way you wanted it. And then add all this stuff later. Hopefully that does not happen. And look, the darkness of it, I understand. That's how it should be. It's Diablo, right? So more grim, a grimmer world and darkness all over. You feel a sense of like danger all around. I mean, considering that cinematic trailer that they're talking about like 3 years ago, that's what entailed the music, this whole setting, the build up, and the way everything happens in that trailer. You're like, whoa, that's the feeling I want from this game, and it definitely feels like it. It definitely feels like danger all around. I do hope, or I do wish, not hope, do wish that they actually added a bit more of like the the anime stuff. I mean, they were talking about the enemies and stuff like that, but just the way they work a little bit more, how they're going about their things. Like, it's just like, oh, enemies are just beating them, and that's it. Um, Hopefully it doesn't become redundant if you're going to this, same kind of places and the same kind of enemies. Again, with the dungeons and all, they're ever changing, so the placement and all is changing. So let's see how that works. In terms of, like, if the game is way too long, then you're kind of doing the same thing. So it has to have that perfect kind of a length. Now it's been a long time that I've touched Diablo. I mean, Diablo 3 even. I don't even know at this point how it all worked and all. I do remember some part of it, but that's about it. But hey, the excitement is still high. I'm still hopeful for this game. Hopefully it delivers. What are your thoughts on this one? Are you excited? Do you care about Diablo or not? Leave a comment below. Let me know. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for all the support. I'll see you all soon. Until then, ta-da, A-Cab.